Time now to find out all you need to know about the world's latest gadgets, and tech journalist Sharma is here because there has been a big exposo in Las Vegas. A word I've just made up there, exposo.
Yeah. Well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, it should do when you see some of this weird and wonderful tech coming from the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in Vegas. One of them is called the Belty. It's a smart belt that loosens after a big meal. There's a bunch of sensors in that belt buckle that will also track your movements. It'll nudge you when you've been sat down for too long, and it'll sync with your smartphone to give you exercise tips.
I mean, it's not very subtle, is it? Design-wise.
And also, you're stuck with that because you won't need to buy another belt because it will just gradually get bigger over the years as you put on more weight or lose it as its intention. I personally think it'd work better if it tightened during a meal, so cut down on sort of the stuff that you're eating.
Sort of like an external gastric band.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I need.
I'm more interested in that.
I need that right now for Christmas.
OK, moving on to something that's a bit more user-friendly, maybe.
Yeah, and a bit more accessible to people around the world who can't afford the latest smartphones. This is Microsoft's new Nokia 215 smartphone, which is super cheap. It's £19. And what do you get for that? You get a quite retro-looking phone, but it's an internet-enabled phone. So it's got a built-in web browser, Facebook Messenger is built in, and you can download apps like Twitter and other games as well. Otherwise, it's pretty low spec. It's not a particularly good camera, and it's a pretty small screen, but it does have a built-in radio and torch, and a really long battery life.
So what market's this aimed at then, really?
It's aimed at the budget market, obviously, but specifically in developing countries. You know, 20% of the world's population doesn't have access to regular electricity. So in places like that, they really appreciate the really long battery life here. And the torch as well is due to be released early this year, and just £19. Could be a nice gift for granny.
Is that markedly different price-wise to the cheapest that we currently have on the market?
Oh yeah, so some of the cheapest Android phones are like over £100. So this is a steal at 19.
OK, and then on to a smart camera which tells you who's arriving home.
Well, I can't tell whether this is clever or creepy, but it's called Welcome. It's a device that sits facing your front door, and as someone walks in, it'll recognise them and send you a message to your smartphone. If it doesn't recognise them, it'll send you an alert, like a security camera. The company says it's useful for keeping an eye on children or the elderly, but it's a little bit creepy, don't you think?
Well, I can see that it's merit in terms of elderly people checking that they've got home and things like that. But in terms of an anti-theft device, surely you just chuck a towel over it. Just walk into every house and throw a towel over it. Done.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's for really suspicious parents. So, you know, if you've got a son or a daughter and their boyfriend or girlfriend comes over, it'll send you a message if they're home alone. You know, I'm not sure it's going to catch on, but let's see.
You never know. There's plenty of paranoid people out there. You just don't know. Onto this smart ring.
Yes, one ring to rule them all. What could go wrong? Plenty, according to early reviews. It's called the Logbar smart ring. It was unveiled at CES this week, just yesterday. The premise is actually quite cool. So you wear the ring and you can control things in your house, like the lighting, heating. You can control your stereo by just flicking your finger like he's doing in the video. However, it's so bulky and unusable that reviewers are calling it the worst product ever made.
Is it just me, or it's some technology just aimed at us doing the least amount of physical movement ever? You know, you're not even having to switch a light switch out. You've just got a ring now.
Yeah.
It's really tiny movements.
Well, I mean, if it works, it could be quite convenient. But the fact that it only works about 5% of the time, and you need to have the app open on your smartphone for it to work, it's sort of an extra step, if anything. So you have to go into the app, and then you flick your finger, and it takes a photo. It's one step more. So I don't think this is going to catch on. I don't think it'll pass CES this year.
So this product has dive-bombed in Las Vegas. I mean, are these sort of things either the making or breaking of new gadgets?
Yeah, well, I think first day at CES is for these weird and wacky technology, the gadgets that were released early in the week. I think throughout the week we'll see bigger product launches from Samsung and bigger players. I think the first day we're getting a lot of this weird stuff.
Oh, OK, so the big tech companies that everyone recognises will still launch stuff there?
Yes, stay tuned.
OK, so stay tuned for something perhaps a little more sensible. You never know.